tana tukatika nina hakuma wilaya na birasulu tahsiyatan linazal minkin fagatu aro tamon fi incident al-hasil wa hakuma bita wilaya waqif ma'akum 100%. We want to assure the public that those 15 individuals that have been arrested, the state government is still working night and day to making sure those who are in hiding are also brought into book and go for investigation. Let us work together with the local government, the county authority, to making sure that this incident doesn't happen. Ukileta kon ma istaqdimu tariqata mashakil zai da ya tariqa alwahid wa nahilabo mashakilna kiranna geni tahat عشان نقدر نونس المشاكلات بتاعنا. أننا فقدنا ناس كفاية. We don't want to lose anyone. May those who have lost their life, may their soul rest in peace, and the state government is committed in making sure that peace, security is a top work of our government to making sure your life and your properties is provided.
Sounds of the Week on iRadio, your eye on South Sudan. Live from Juba, on air and online.
This is iRadio News.
Hello, this is iRadio News. First, here are the headlines. The Minister of Information and Government spokesperson says the government plans to sign a contract with an Israeli technology company to provide satellite internet services across the country ahead of the upcoming elections. The Minister of Humanitarian Affairs and Disaster Management, Albino Akola Atak, says the UN Undersecretary General for Humanitarian Affairs has placed $100 million in funding to support humanitarian operations in South Sudan. And Eastern Equatorial State Governor Luis Lobong Lojore and his delegation have called on the National Ministry of Roads and Bridges to include the state in the government's mineral-based road construction projects. These stories and more are coming to you in this news bulletin with me, Jame Atem. Now the news in detail. The Minister of Information and Government spokesperson says the government plans to sign a contract with an Israeli technology company to provide satellite internet services across the country ahead of the upcoming elections. Minister Ateny Ateny made the announcement after meeting Gershon Kedar, Israel's non-resident ambassador to South Sudan, yesterday. Ateny said the government is expected to enter into contract with Gilad, an Israeli technology company. He explained that the move aims to improve connectivity and strengthen communication infrastructure before the polls, to ensure that young South Sudanese trained in Israel return home to apply the skills and technology they acquired for the benefit of the country.
As government, we are going to work to ensure those young South Sudanese who are in Israel bring back the technology that they were actually taught in Israel for the betterment of the people of South Sudan. They can learn and then stay illegally outside South Sudan. The second thing is we also discuss about the issue of Gilad. Gilad is a technology company of Israel that is going to be signing a contract with us to provide satellite internet to South Sudan prior to the elections.
Meanwhile, Kedar said Israel is committed to working with the government and people of South Sudan, citing the strong historical ties and friendship between the two countries. He said the introduction of advanced technology would benefit both the government and ordinary citizens, including those in remote areas. He explained that satellite and Wi-Fi connectivity would allow people to access e-government services such as licensing and documentation digitally, reducing the need to travel long distances to town.
By using the technology that will make available will help not just the government but also the man in the street, the person in the village who wants to receive e-government services, whether it is licensing or any documentation needed. Instead of going hundreds of kilometers to the nearest town. He'll be able to do things digitally through satellite and Wi-Fi.
South Sudan is expected to hold general elections in December 2026. The Minister of Humanitarian Affairs and Disaster Management, Albino Akola Tak, says the UN Under Secretary General for Humanitarian Affairs has placed $100 million in funding to support humanitarian operations in South Sudan. Minister Albino Akol made the announcement following a meeting between President Salva Kiir and Tom Fletcher, the UN Under Secretary General for Humanitarian Affairs and Emergency Relief Coordinator, yesterday. Speaking after the meeting, Minister Albino said the President welcomed Fletcher's visit and directed all government institutions to ensure smooth humanitarian operations. He added that the $100 million placed will help vulnerable people across the country this year. The funds will be channeled through local NGOs to ensure transparency and accountability so that every dollar reaches those in need.
The President welcomed, appreciated his initiative for him to be here, and directed all of us to make humanitarian operation very smooth, including provision of access, safe access, of course, and protection of humanitarian workers, protection of humanitarian assistance, and make sure that all levels of the government cooperate so that we deliver humanitarian assistance to the needy people. He has announced the support that is being brought to the humanitarian operation in South Sudan in the tune of $100 million to support the vulnerable people of South Sudan this year. And these funds will be channeled through the local actors and even through the local NGOs so that each dollar reach the needy people of the Republic of South Sudan.
Meanwhile, Fletcher said discussions with the government focused on the humanitarian situation across South Sudan and efforts to maximize life-saving assistance. He said he received strong assurances from the President regarding humanitarian access to all parts of the country, allowing aid delivery based strictly on need. Fletcher also welcomed commitments on the protection of humanitarian workers, including South Sudanese staff who play a key role in relief operations.
The humanitarian situation across South Sudan and our efforts to maximize the life-saving support that we can deliver in as efficient a way as possible to the maximum number of people possible in South Sudan. And as part of that, we discussed the importance, and I was glad to receive his strong reassurances about humanitarian access to all parts of South Sudan so that we can deliver everywhere on the basis of need, and his strong reassurances on the importance of protection of humanitarian workers, including our many South Sudanese colleagues on whom we rely so heavily. And ultimately, of course, we discussed the vital importance of peace in South Sudan. And I know from the President's comments his commitment to peace and inclusive dialogue. And of course the United Nations is very keen to see that genuine peace and security for the South Sudanese people who are waiting so long for that calm and peace to prevail.
You're listening to iRadio Afternoon News. Eastern Equatorial State Governor Luis Lobong Lojore and his delegation have called on the National Ministry of Roads and Bridges to include the state in the government's mineral-based road construction projects. The call comes after the cabinet recently approved $2 billion for road infrastructure, with funding to be backed by gold reserves. Governor Lobong and his team met with National Minister of Roads and Bridges Peter Lam both yesterday to discuss how the state's mineral resources could be used to upgrade roads in the region. In a statement to SSBC, Eastern Equatorial State Minister of Information and Communication Elia John said the state is rich in minerals that can support road construction.
Since we had, there are going some roads to be rehabilitated in the nation using some mineral resources. And we, the people of Eastern Equatoria, felt that we have those resources in Eastern Equatoria. we have come to inform the National Ministry that since such investors are there, why can't the National Ministry lobby for those investors to come also to construct the roads in Eastern Equatoria using those available resources?
Meanwhile, the head of the Eastern Equatoria State Parliamentary Caucus in the reconstituted Transitional National Legislative Assembly, Julius Moilinga, said the delegation sought clarification from the minister on why the state was not included in the initial phase of the plan. Moilinga expressed hope that Eastern Equatoria could be considered in the next phase after the ministry explained that current projects are preliminary pilot initiatives.
We came here for an inquiry to find out exactly from the mouth of the horse, who happens to be the minister, as to why Eastern Equatoria is not having a share in the whole plan. But then after a very satisfactory description of the plans of the government in as far as these projects which are preliminary and pilot in nature, we felt that we have not been left out from his description. These are pilot projects. If they are done very well, I think we will come in. Eastern Equatoria has goal, has resources, and I think we will perform the best if in the next phase.
The executive director of the Nile Basin Initiative has hailed the extension of Uganda's electricity supply into South Sudan, saying it will increase the country's national power access from 7% to 10%. In January, authorities in Nimuli Town, Magui County of Eastern Equatoria State announced that electricity from Uganda had reached the border town. Speaking during Nile Day celebration in Juba over the weekend, Nesto Noyinzima said the project will transform South Sudan electricity sector and expand access for households and businesses. He said the project will provide an alternative to expensive diesel generators by supplying affordable hydropower. The 300-kilometer power line runs from Olwiyo in Uganda to Juba under the South Sudan-Uganda Power Interconnection Project. Officials say the project is expected to cut electricity costs by 75% rather, and reduce prices from 40 cents to just 9 cents per kilowatt. In addition to electricity, the project will also provide high-speed fiber optic internet and stable power to more than 100 schools and 50 health facilities. The African Development Bank and the European Union are funding the construction. The former governor of Lake State, Rintweny Mabur, has handed over government assets acquired during his tenure to the newly appointed governor, Madang Majok Man, in a transition ceremony held yesterday. Alongside the assets, former Governor Rin also presented financial report to the new state leadership. Speaking at the handover in Rumbek, Rin called on the people of Lake State to support the new administration to ensure continued progress and peace.
Assets and financial report. While in the attached, the detailed financial report, the statements of finance and planning and investment, and the report with Amal will clarity delivered. Today, I wish you double your effort and cooperate with the new leadership. My appreciation to our proposed county number 9, the diaspora community. Thank you for the support to education, dialogue, and peace in the state. To our elders, youth, women, intellectuals, and the entire citizens of Lake State, your cooperation, guidance, and generous support was my greatest strength. We have moved from restoration to new beginning. The tools for a prosperous state are now in your hands. I appeal to you to cooperate with the new governor in sustaining this peace we hardly fought for. I leave this office with my head held high, knowing that I love a peaceful and stable Lake State. My handing over report is here attached for God and my country.
The Minister of General Education and Instruction, Kuyok Abol Kuyok, has commended the South Sudan Revenue Authority for establishing the South Sudan Institute of Revenue Administration, saying it will professionalize the country's revenue and financial sectors. Speaking at the launch of the institute yesterday, Minister Kuyok stressed that South Sudanese customs and revenue officers must be equipped with modern administrative practices to remain competitive in the region. He said the institute's curriculum must align with regional standards to ensure training is high quality and relevant to East African context.
The Minister of General Education and Instruction is a direct stakeholder of revenue. And CIRA, as a training hub for young South Sudanese staff, custom and NRA, will be critical in transforming taxation system in South Sudan. The Minister of General Education and Instruction is committed to collaborate with the NRA and others to ensure that training at CIRA is aligned with the regional qualifications.
Minister Kuyok also affirmed that his ministry is ready to provide technical support to ensure the institute's long-term success. The training programs are designed to address persistent challenges in revenue management, including customs procedural bottlenecks and tax compliances. By providing officers nationwide with practical standardized skills, the institute aims to improve operational efficiency, increase national revenue collection, and promote a more transparent economic environment. You're listening to iRadio News, and now let's go and listen to international news by Diko Diandro.
And for the international news, Ugandan President Yoweri Museveni has blocked a church mass scheduled to honor opposition figure Kizza Besigye, who has been jailed since 2024 facing treason charges. Besigye's wife told AFP on Monday Besigye was abducted by armed men in the Kenyan capital Nairobi in November 2024 and reappeared a few days later in a military court in Uganda. Besigye, a former personal doctor to Museveni and his political opponent for more than 25 years, has been in jail for about 15 months and has faced health issues during this time. Elsewhere, the World Bank announced on Monday it aims providing Mozambique with $6 billion in mostly concessional financing over the next 5 years to support public investment projects as the Southern African nation grappled with strained public finance and recent IMF warning over worsening debt dynamic. The financing is aimed at supporting the government development strategy. An additional $4 billion in private sector funding is also being targeted. And finally, US President Donald Trump's newly global tariff have become into effect at 10% despite a pledge to introduce them at a higher rate. After the Supreme Court blocked many in his swapping import taxes on Friday, the president said he will introduce a 10% tax global rate. He then said on Saturday that the rate will be 15%. However, according to the financial document, the tariff have been set at a lower rate from Tuesday with no directive to increase the rate issue. The BBC has contacted the White House for a comment. For iRadio, I'm Diko Andrew. Thank you for listening.
Thank you, Diko Diandro. And now let's go and listen to sport news presented by Wal Mapal.
Good afternoon. This is iRadio Sport News. In the 18th week of the South Sudan Premier League, Katol Juba overcame Koryom Bor with a 3-0 victory, reaching 39 points and securing third place behind leaders Al-Mughir Juba and second place Jamus. Despite the loss, Koryom Bor maintained 9th place, benefiting from a defeat suffered by Olympic rank, who sit in 10th earlier in the week. Today, Al-Ghazala WOW aims to continue its positive run when they face Al-Mulekir, currently 5th, who are looking to climb into 4th place in the league standings. The South Sudan Cup 2025-2026 continued the exciting group stage matches played across rank, WOW and Juba. In Group C in rank, YDS Ural secured a narrow 1-0 victory over FC Bright, earning a crucial 3 points in a tightly contested match. In Group A in WOW, Jerusalem FC defeated Nylam FC 2-1 to boost their chances of progressing from the group. In another feature, Fashoda also claimed a 2-1 win over Kaka in a competitive encounter. Meanwhile, in Group B in Juba, Gure City delivered a dominant attacking display, thrashing Hadat FC 7-3 in one of the highest scoring matches of the tournament so far. Benfica's Gianluca Bresciani has received a provisional 1-match suspension after Real Madrid's Vinicius Junior reporter legs racist abuse during last week's Champions League meeting. It means the Argentine winger is set to miss the second leg of the tie in Madrid on Wednesday, 20:00 GMT. UEFA has imposed the ban on provisional basis pending the result of a full investigation by an ethics and disciplinary inspector. The European governing body said further punishment could be handed out once that investigation is completed. Vinicius told referee Francois Letexia that he had been racially abused by the Argentina winger during the first leg of the Champions League knockout phase play-off tie in Lisbon last Tuesday. Boxing legends Manny Pacquiao and Floyd Mayweather have agreed to a professional rematch this September. The fight is scheduled for Saturday, 19th September on the Sphere in Las Vegas and will be broadcast live on Netflix. Floyd Mayweather, 48, announced last week that he could come out to retirement for the 4th time. This will be his first professional bout since defeating mixed martial artist Conor McGregor via 10th round technical knockout in 2017. Manny Pacquiao, 47, had retired in 2021 to focus on his political career. He returned to the ring last July to face WBC welterweight champion Mario Barrios, who retained his title after a draw. The two first met in 2015 in the fight famously billed as the fight of the century, which remained the richest boxing match in history. That's all from the world of sports with me, Womapal. And now, back to you in the studio.
Thank you, Walma Pal. And you're listening to iRadio News. And now to end this bulletin, here are the headlines once again. The Minister of Information and Government spokesperson says the government plans to sign a contract with an Israeli technology company to provide its satellite internet services across the country ahead of the upcoming elections. The Minister of Humanitarian Affairs and Disaster Management, Albino Akola Tak, says the UN Under-Secretary General for Humanitarian Affairs has placed $100 million in funding to support humanitarian operations in South Sudan. And Eastern Equatorial State Governor Luis Lobong Lojora and his delegation have called on the National Ministry of Roads and Bridges to include the state in the government's mineral-based road construction projects. That's the end of our radio news. If there is a story or event you like our radio to cover or report about, please send us a text message on +211 925 287 870. It's also our WhatsApp number. Follow us on X at iRadio Juba, like our Facebook page iRadio. You can subscribe to our YouTube channel at iRadio South Sudan. You can also visit our website and listen to us online at www.iradio.org. Stay tuned for news in Arabic at half past the hour. I am